Robert was 68 years old, a retired compliance auditor who had spent 4 decades catching financial fraud for a living. He wasn't flashy. He wasn't wealthy in an obvious way. He lived quietly in a modest 2-story home outside Madison, Wisconsin, the same house he and his wife had bought when their street didn't even have sidewalks yet. His wife, Elaine, had been gone for 5 years. But before cancer took her, Elaine made Robert promise her something. She told him that one day, their son would fall in love with the wrong person. Not because their son was weak, not because he was careless, but because he had a good heart. And good hearts attract people who see opportunity instead of partnership. Their son's name was Daniel Hale. Daniel was 31, intelligent, steady, and kind to a fault. He worked as a project analyst for a logistics firm in downtown Chicago, saved diligently, and had never given Robert a single reason to worry. Until Vanessa Miller entered his life. Vanessa appeared polished from the very beginning, always dressed perfectly, always smiling, always seeming just a little too interested in the details most people glossed over. Robert didn't dislike her at first. What he felt was quieter. Concern. At their very first dinner together, Vanessa complimented the house, then immediately asked how much homes in the area were worth now. She asked how long Robert planned to live there. She asked whether Daniel would inherit it outright or through a trust. She asked all of that before she ever asked about Elaine. Daniel didn't notice. Robert did. And instead of confronting her, Robert did what Elaine had taught him to do. He watched. Because 6 months before Elaine passed, she had insisted they prepare. Not for death, but for what came after. Together, they created an irrevocable family trust, structured investments, and legally separated every major asset from future marital claims. And then Elaine made one more request. She told Robert to rent a storage unit, not for furniture, not for keepsakes, for documentation. A small, climate-controlled unit outside Rockford, Illinois, far enough from home that no one would stumble onto it by accident. Inside were copies of every legal document, every trust record, every safeguard. And one more thing. A leather-bound journal. Robert began writing in it the day Daniel introduced Vanessa. Every comment, every subtle push, every financial question disguised as casual curiosity. 3 years of notes. Vanessa never knew it existed, until the day she tried to break into it. Robert was visiting his sister Linda in Portland, Maine, when his phone rang. It was Daniel. His voice was shaking. "Dad, she found something. She found your storage unit. She's there right now. The manager called me because it's in your name. She brought tools." Robert didn't raise his voice. He didn't panic. He had been waiting for this moment for 3 years. He asked one question. "Did she get inside?" "No," Daniel said. "They stalled her, but Dad, she's furious. She says she has a right to whatever affects our future." Robert closed his eyes. Then he gave Daniel clear instructions. "Call the police. Tell them someone is attempting unauthorized entry. Then call our attorney, and don't let her in." Then Robert booked the next flight back to Chicago. On the plane, he replayed everything. The expensive engagement ring Daniel couldn't really afford. The over-the-top wedding Vanessa insisted on. The luxury SUV Daniel co-signed for while Vanessa claimed she was still job hunting. The sudden interest in estate planning. The journal hadn't been paranoia. It had been preparation. When Robert arrived home that night, both cars were already in the driveway. Inside, the tension was suffocating. Vanessa sat composed on the couch, calm on the surface. Daniel looked exhausted, confused, caught between loyalty and truth. Vanessa spoke first. She accused Robert of secrecy, of control, of hiding documents that affected her husband's future. Robert listened. Then he spoke, slowly, clearly. He explained the trust, the legal structure, the prenuptial agreement she had signed 3 days before the wedding. Vanessa laughed. until Robert opened the journal. He read dates, quoted her own words, described patterns she thought no one noticed. Then he laid printed screenshots on the table. Messages Vanessa had sent to friends. Messages about playing the long game, about figuring out how much the family was really worth. Daniel saw them on his synced tablet. The room went silent. Vanessa tried to explain, tried to cry, tried to pivot. Daniel stood up, and in that moment he saw her clearly for the first time, not the woman he loved, but the person who had been planning around him. That night, Vanessa packed 2 suitcases and left. No screaming, no drama, just a door closing. The next morning, Daniel asked to see the storage unit. When they opened it together, Daniel expected documents. What he didn't expect were the photo albums, his mother's handwriting, her books, her jewelry box, and an envelope with his name on it. Elaine had written the letter 2 weeks before she died. In it, she told Daniel she trusted his heart, but feared the world. She told him that real love never demands access to bank accounts. That real love is built in shared effort, not entitlement. Daniel cried, not because of Vanessa, but because his mother had been right. 6 months later, the divorce was finalized. The prenup held. The trust remained untouched. Vanessa walked away with exactly what she brought in. Daniel began healing, and every Sunday, father and son shared dinner again. The storage unit still exists, but it was never about hiding money. It was about protecting truth. Because sometimes the greatest inheritance isn't wealth. It's wisdom, revealed at exactly the right moment.